Hi friends, so here I am with my series of lecture that has been aptly named as Alphabet of Ethics. I am in the last portion of the syllabic content, which is called as Probity in Governance. After this, one more video, that would be video 18, would be given on this platform, and that video would be related to how to solve case studies questions. Okay, with a schematic diagram I would try to explain how to solve case study in video 18. So in this video, which is Probity in Governance, basically it is the last stanza of the syllabus in which we would be dealing with probity philosophical basis for governance and administration, and different codes related to probity and transparency and accountability for administrative officials. Codes like quality of service delivery, RTI, code of conduct, code of ethics. Okay, and I would also be discussing one more issue that I left over from my previous lecture, that what is the difference between laws and rules, and this was the question in 2020 mains paper. See, probity in governance is very important because 2019 paper started with this particular concept. And apart from this, not only that, in case study questions, probity, financial propriety, these type of terms are like mentioned everywhere, in every case study. Okay, so probity in governance, in this particular topic, we would be discussing public service. What do you mean by public service? We would be discussing probity. We would be discussing second Administrative Reforms Commission or Virappa Moily Committee Commission, as it is popularly known as, and what it said about this particular concept, probity. Okay, then we come to philosophical basis of probity in administration. Then we deal with certain terms that are very much normal and very much in traction: new public management, new public administration, new public service, developmental administration, entrepreneurial government. Okay, so these things we will be discussing in brief. Okay, so hold on and be with me for the entire time schedule for this video. See, public service. Okay, public service, basically again go back to my lecture related to public servant. Okay, public service is basically those type of services which are ordinarily understood to be supplied by or provided by the government. So those type of services has three A's: affordability, accessibility and availability. Affordability, accessibility and availability. So these are all public utility which are normally understood to be supplied by the state with capital S. But generally now we see that most of the public utility have been privatized. We would come to that when we would discuss entrepreneurial government and new public administration. How government is basically treating its subject not as social entities but rather as consumers. We will be coming to that. Second criteria of public service is that this public service also includes certain public functionaries. Okay, certain public functionaries may be related like judges, like defense. Okay, so these are two criteria how to define a public service. Again, public service, each and every public service, each and every civil service is a public service, but every public service is not a civil service. This is the reason why I have indicated this with this particular statement. All public service basically is the superset of civil service. Okay, I would repeat that again. Every civil service is a public service, but every public service is not a civil service. Okay, revert back to my previous lecture to understand this nicely. Now we come to probity. See, probity means evidence of ethical behavior in your public life for public officials. Not only that you should be good or you should be honest, but you should also provide the evidence of being honest to people at large. So it is more than your personal accountability. Basically that personal accountability should be replenished by people's acceptability and people's consent. So probity is like evidence of ethical behavior in the public psyche, and basically probity has certain constituents element which are like integrity, uprightness and honesty. Integrity, uprightness and honesty. Okay, so now we come to the definition that has been given regarding this particular topic in the Second Administrative Reform Commission. See, it has said that it is high time now that civil services in particular and public services in general get out of their traditional mindset of accountability, transparency, efficiency, and they should develop more inherent and more intrusive ethical and moral conduct which basically relates to probity, commitment for welfare, compassion for downtrodden and human rights. So basically it has said that apart from accountability and efficiency, more intrusive moral and ethical conduct should be there in public services, and that intrusive moral conduct basically relates to compassion, commitment, human rights and probity. Okay, so probity basically is one step more into the moral and ethical conduct of that particular public servant. Okay, then we come to philosophical basis of government and probity. Basically, see, philosophical basis, whenever we deal with this particular word, we come to the context of philosophies, we come to the context of manuscript, we come to the context of philosophical heroes, mythical heroes, though I do not like that word mythical. So like people, what we get from scriptures, like the governance of Ram Rajya. Okay, this is also a defining feature. Then what has been said in Bhagavad Gita, what has been said related to administration in Bhishma Pitamaha, Parva 12 of Mahabharat. Then some of the philosophers like Lao Tse, Confucius, Menuchus, okay, what they have said regarding probity. Okay, say they all have basically stressed on the internal accountability, and because it is philosophy, they have said that if you do have internal accountability, that internal accountability would be very well read by your subjects. Okay, so their probity as far as governance is concerned is more related to your internal transformation. Okay, as in Ram Rajya it is said that your subjects are like your son and daughters. Okay, so after that we come to public duty. See, public duty is not to serve your self-interest, rather it is to serve the common interest, and common interest is not the sum total of private interest, it is more than that. Okay, now we come to issues that has been related to like new public services. Actually, you know, this is a concept that has been given in the latter part of 20th century by Janet Denhard and Robert Denhard. Okay, these were two people who gave this new public services in this particular context. Basically in 1950s they said that government should be engaged in servicing their citizens, and they should not treat governance as business. For their citizens they should be service provider, and not like a business CEO. They should be providing them as consumers. So new public services has been given by Janet Denhard and Robert Denhard. Then we come to certain antithetical development as far as this particular NPS is concerned. See, initial confrontation or initial conflicting point as far as NPS is concerned is related to basically increasing of the budget size of the government, because the more you provide, the more you engage in welfare economy, the more you get into the deficit financing angle. Okay, so the deficit of the government basically increases. Okay, and that deficit becomes unsustainable as far as that particular government taxation and revenue generating model is concerned. So initial antithesis to it basically came in development administration. In this basically it was basically given by E. Weidner. He said that there must be a purpose, there must be loyalty, and there must be attitude as far as civil servants are concerned. In this development administration, they have said that loyalty should be for the people and not for my political masters. Okay, not for my political masters. Loyalty should be completely for the people to whom basically I am a servant. And their purpose is basically to provide an efficient development model of governance and providing public utilities, and attitude should be pro people. Okay, after this development administration there was more antithetical offshoots as far as NPS is concerned, and this basically went to the level with this particular terms that is called as new public management and new public administration. First we would deal new public management. See, new public management basically was a concept that came very heavily in the latter part of 20th century, particularly after 1980s, and basically it stressed on the concept of managerialism. Like basically the government should be thought of as a manager. Okay, so basically NPM basically states about 3 E's, that is efficiency, effectiveness and economy. So here again they are stressing on the point of economy. Like rather than only spending, government should also be more and more focused as far as the revenue generation is concerned. Okay, so new public management was an important ideological bent as far as governance is concerned, and it basically came in 1970s. After that, a more radical format of new public management was entrepreneurial government. It was given by Osborne and Gabler in 1992, and this basically relates to that a government is basically like an entrepreneur, and it should not treat its people as citizen, rather it should treat its people as consumer, and more stress should be provided for earning capacity and not only on spending, and the stress should be more on an entrepreneurial mindset rather than a bureaucratic mindset. And because of these things only, now we are seeing more PPP partnership, third party administrator, third party contract in most of the issues related to public utility. Okay. After this we come to new public administration. Actually, new public administration was a movement which arose in US in 1960s, when the whole governance model proved to be ineffective as far as efficient governance in that particular country is concerned. And it basically said that governance or administration rather cannot be value neutral. it has to be value positive as far as the downtrodden and those people who have been left behind is concerned. Okay, so basically it came up with ideas related to positive discrimination and welfareism, new welfaristic model where efficiency was counted. Okay, so not you are basically blindly spending the revenue, rather you are more concerned about whether that revenue is getting to targeted audience. In our country, like targeted PDS is an example of new public administration. You know, new public administration again depended on 4 Ds: decentralization, democratization, debureaucratization and delegation. Okay. After this, basically we come to a thing that I left over from my previous lecture, and it was related to what is the difference between rules and laws. See, rules are informal. Anybody can make rule. I, being the head of my family, has put on some rule that while having dinner there should not be any mobile. Whereas law has certain statutory, certain state with capital S backing. Okay, my rule as far as dinner etiquette is concerned in my house cannot be equated with law. Okay, and apart from this, laws basically carry certain penal provisions, and those penal provisions could be financial or could be like corporeal, and that penal provision is provided or is supplanted or provided by the state. Okay, so rules is informal, whereas laws, and apart from this, rules can be made by any organization, private organization. Suppose in a private bank or in a private institution, private publishing house where you are working, you have a rule that you do not have to leave your office until and unless you provide with that particular day's work to your supervisor. But this particular rule cannot be called law, because if you break that rule, you do not get corporal punishment from government. So with this, we come to the end of this particular lecture. We can call it as penultimate lecture, because the next lecture would be the last lecture, in which I would be discussing about how to solve case studies. Hope you have liked my video lecture series. Please share and like. Thank you.